If scar massage alone was enough to fix your C-section scar shelf, it would have by now. And if it hasn't, it's not because your body is broken. It's because you were sold an incomplete solution. A C-section isn't on anyone's ideal checklist for their delivery. Now your abdomen looks and feels foreign to you. And now you're left wondering, how can I possibly change how I look and feel in my body? So yes, we now have to talk about your actual C-section. They go through 7 layers of tissue in multiple different directions, both horizontally and vertically. And so yes, we may have a lot of scar tissue that needs to be worked through that is impacting your C-section scar shelf. But massaging your scar is not what is actually going to fully heal your C-section scar shelf. You see, scar mobility is so important, and I will die on that bed too, that we need to mobilize that scar, but that's really only one step. Scar mobility is crucial to be able to mobilize that tissue, reduce scar formation. It helps with the desensitization of tissues, and if we already have scar tissue developed, it helps us actually reduce those adhesions, improve mobility so that your abdominal wall can function better. But that's the key. We need that abdominal wall to function better. And the scar mobilization is only the first step in that equation. Scar mobilization improves the tissue, but your shelf is not just a tissue issue. There's more to it. So let's talk about what a C-section shelf actually is. It's a combination of both scar restrictions and a core system that isn't functioning properly. I find that this happens when we have that combination of scar tissue development, but we've also been fed into this core strategy that is not helping us. This can happen from prior to pregnancy, during pregnancy, or it can develop early postpartum based off of all the things that are happening in our body during this time. Now, to understand this a little bit better, we have to talk about the 4 key pieces of our inner core. So first, we have the breathing diaphragm that lives in our rib cage. We have the pelvic floor that lives at the base of our pelvis. We have the transverse abdominis that wraps like a corset from our back all the way around to the front. And then we have these little muscles that run up and down our spine called the multifidi. And those 4 muscles need to stabilize us during pregnancy, in this postpartum stage, and beyond. Now, this system can be functional prior or not, but during pregnancy, a few key things happen. The first is that our breathing diaphragm starts to shift from our changing posture, so that diaphragm has a really hard time connecting to the rest of our body. Our transverse abdominis stretches because of our growing baby, and that weakens. And then our pelvic floor and our back muscles are trying to compensate from these changes, and we see changes in function there too. And then we have a C-section, which, like we talked about, we cut and move through 7 layers of tissue. Now, if we are developing these dysfunctional patterns, either in pregnancy or early postpartum, it's going to lead to imbalances in our core and how our body is functioning and looks. When we care for our little ones and are progressing into movement, we are asking a lot of our core in this time period when our core is so compromised. And if that system isn't coordinated, we can end up utilizing every other part of our core and our body besides the pieces that we actually want it to use. So while we do need to mobilize those restrictions in the C-section scar, you can release those tissues all day long, but if that core system underneath is still dysfunctional, the shelf will remain no matter how much you release it. When we just focus on releasing that scar, we're only focusing on surface level. And when we have a dysfunctional core pattern, we may be gripping certain areas of our body, like our abdomen, in a way that's not helping our core or helping our scar tissue actually relieve tension. If we grip the area around our scar constantly throughout the day and we don't have a balance or rhythm to it, it's going to tighten back up over and over again. So that release work that we're doing becomes obsolete. We have to find the driver in your body, which is different for everyone, which is why this can be so complicated. We all have different strategies and variables to how we are actually activating our core throughout the day with exercise and with movements that are impacting how our abdominal wall appears and functions. There are a few key things that have to be shifted and changed before that C-section scar shelf will actually start to disappear. We have to get that inner core system coordinated again. That's the breathing diaphragm, the pelvic floor, the transverse abdominis, and our back muscles. That system needs to work together to be able to create a balanced load within our core. And from there, we then have to load that new core strategy over and over again with movement, resistance, and load, and then integrate it into a full body strategy so that not only is this system working for us in our workouts, it's also working for us in the day-to-day. Because let's be real, mom, our workouts are only so long, and how we function all day long with our kids and our babies is what is actually going to move the needle for us long term. We can't have great core strategies in our workouts without it needing to flow over into our daily life. There are 23 plus hours in the day that we need that carryover to happen. If you are months to years postpartum and you are still struggling with that C-section scar shelf, it's not because you didn't massage it enough or didn't do enough. It's because no one taught you how to rebuild that inner core system in a way that actually healed your body. If you don't change how that core system works, no amount of scar massage will stick. In the next video, I'm breaking down the first thing that I assess with every postpartum woman struggling with a C-section scar shelf. Because skipping this step is exactly why most women stay stuck.